Welcome back to Scinary Information Nexus, your podcast of sin.
Oh, that never gets old. That never gets old. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back. Mario, welcome back.
Yay.
Wait, you fired me.
We didn't.
It was a very quick firing. It came back the next
The thing
day.
is we fired this guy like probably 10 times over his tenure and just keeps coming back.
You're fired. No, I'm not.
Yeah, if you just keep showing up, eventually they'll feel bad enough to hire you again.
Yeah.
So, welcome, everyone. As always, I'm Richard Martin, and I'm joined by Joseph and Mario and Brazos. And in today's exciting episode, we will be talking about incident response. But first,
That's his favorite thing.
yeah. But first, again, it's another week without a sponsor. We don't have any sponsors, but we do have
beer.
new. We do have new.
That was
new
in
beer.
sync. You guys had beer sync on.
Yeah.
So we've been sitting here pre-gaming. For
Yeah,
the
y'all
last
already
15,
almost through
15
those.
minutes. Yeah.
Well, it's got bourbon in the name, so I was in.
Yeah.
So for everybody watching and listening, we are actually drinking Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale. And it's got 8.2% alcohol by volume, and it is a damn fine beer.
It is.
Yeah, I've had this brand before and it is really good. I think they have like a chocolate one that's also really, really good.
I could see them doing like a really good, like dark stout kind
Yeah,
of thing.
it is good. HEB has it. I always go and get the build your own 6-pack and I'll throw one in there.
Nice.
What you what?
Nice.
Build your own 6-pack.
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
never done that?
No.
That's really fun.
Yeah, you can go to HEB and they have like all the like bespoke beers, the small brewing companies.
Oh, you can just pick and
And,
choose.
yeah, you grab a little 6-pack container like this, but for 6, and you go in, you just choose your beer and put it in.
Yeah, and then
As long
they
as it
check you out.
fits, it sits.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you ever been to Build-A-Bear? Same thing.
Yeah. Build a beer.
Build a beer.
All right.
Now that's a workshop I can get behind.
Yeah.
I think those are called distilleries.
Breweries, sir. Breweries.
Oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Distilling's for the good shit.
So we like the beer.
Yeah.
Obviously, right? Again, we pre-gamed about 15 minutes, but again, no sponsor this week, so we'll have to work on that.
Yeah.
But speaking of IR, man, has it been a week for
Yeah.
real?
Like nonstop.
Can y'all tell that school is back
Yeah.
Right.
for most of our clients?
Teachers are in the house, and so are students. So
Yeah, and so are the alerts, and so is incident response is way off the charts.
Joe, how many times did the IR line ring yesterday?
Yesterday I think it was 3 or 4 different times.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a couple of them were like right back to back. We got done with one IR call and we got off the phone and we started going into that, and I had given the team instructions, hey, go ahead and do this. And sure enough, I went to go sit down back at my desk and start on some of my other duties, and it starts ringing again. I'm immediately back out in the SOC. All right, who's it this time? And sure enough, there's another person on the IR line, and we go into our stuff.
Yeah, it has been a week. It seems like every time I walked into the SOC, you guys were working on, something.
Can I go ahead and derail the conversation immediately?
Yeah, go for it.
So my new favorite attack is the one that has been most prevalent right now.
Well,
That has been just absolutely bonkers.
You
of
have
how
this
effective
knack.
it is.
you have this knack of it's numbered 7 on my list to talk about, I'm sure. But yeah, go ahead and let's blow it out.
It's the ClickFix attack, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let me cross that off the list because we're going to talk about that now. Evidently.
Like I said, just immediate derail. But it is insane to me how effective this attack is being.
Yeah.
Because in all of my years of using the internet, never, ever have I been asked to use the Windows plus R combination in anything I do to interact with any site. And the attacker's just like, well, maybe if I make them do Windows plus R and see what happens.
Type in a command.
I can get them to just paste this command in and do my work for me. And next thing you know, everyone everywhere is doing it.
Yeah.
How many beers did you have?
Okay, so
Let's cut that down.
this was a conversation that me and Joe were having yesterday, and literally brought up the same thing about the idea of just like why is it effective? Like I really don't understand.
How did we end up here?
Like it doesn't make any sense. And what I remember I told Joe was like the idea of like maybe which is like anathema. Like I can't do it. Like the idea of removing 7 years of cybersecurity experience.
Right.
And so it's like maybe there's something there where it's like, okay, I've got to put myself in the headspace of someone that has no idea about anything computer wise, and that's how you fall for it. But even then, I feel like, isn't that just weird? Like if you have
it feels
existed,
weird.
Yeah, existed in the internet age, I have never seen a CAPTCHA do anything like that. Ever.
Right.
So why would you think all of a sudden that's a requirement?
I blame drugs. I mean,
What?
How many
So-
beers have you had?
So I'm
Not
actually
enough.
going to at least partially blame the cybersecurity industry itself.
yeah.
We tend to put out new things so often, and it's a two-sided coin, right? So IT tends to put out new things and do things in order to better secure the environment, and they just do it half the time because even if they try to explain it to the end users, no one wants to listen more than 5 minutes after you get past the first acronym. Like
You've been looking at our YouTube stats.
like the second you start talking about cybersecurity, people just glaze over like there's nothing there. And so it's a little bit of if we would explain it better, there's a potential that they would at least know what is happening.
No, there's no.
But they would at least know that it is IT that's doing it.
I've
But-
personally lost all hope. I mean,
Well, so the interesting thing with ClickFix is what we were discussing this yesterday, was how it's getting served to people. And the thing that I find kind of the same thing of like, why would you do the Windows R thing? Like who in the right mind would do that? Who in the right mind clicks on the very first thing that asks for a free PDF converter?
Well, but that's what they're searching for.
Yeah.
So
or the Teams download.
So and this is my inclusion and why, like, to a degree, I don't agree with you, Joe. I don't agree with you.
That's bold.
I don't think it matters. I think you could sit here and explain it to somebody like they're 5 years old, or you could give a dissertation, master's level explanation, and they won't care. Because in my brilliance of, going back to maybe simple, 12-year-old Mario,
Yeah.
when we were doing that investigation, and I even got out of my chair because I thought how funny this was. we're doing we're doing our investigation. It's Windows R, right? And we're thinking we're in this cyberspace. Why would anybody do that, right? And before we even were able to use our tool to actually go in and verify what our issue was or what the initial cause of this attack was, I thought, what would 5-year-old me do who wants something on the internet without wanting to pay for it?
Click the download button.
Nope. You search it up in Google and then you add free download afterwards.
And that's exactly what he did. He took exactly what they were doing and said, okay, she said she was dealing with this PDF. Type in that PDF name, free download.
Yeah. And
Was the first link.
First thing
Was
that
the
popped up.
first link. And so that was my reason for disagreeing, because it didn't matter. She wanted it so bad that she was going to do whatever it took to get it.
So what was it? Was it sponsored? Like at the top of Google?
I don't think so.
No, I don't
Yeah,
think
I
so
don't think
either.
so.
I think it was just like it was probably past the sponsorships. It was like one of the first three.
Well, I have like the little ad block, so I don't normally see those anyways.
Yeah. Okay. I just wonder if it was the sponsored like thing where they had actually.
Well,
like,
I do know
paid.
some of them do.
Yeah,
do
some
that.
of them
So
are.
like
Yeah.
SEO poisoning is a major part of this attack, right? And it's something that I don't feel like gets talked about all that much. But really, if you don't recognize the site in the first 10 results, you probably need to approach it with at least a lot of skepticism. If you recognize the site, that's one thing, and there can still be issues there if the site got compromised at some point in time and it's delivering bad things. Like that is the thing, but it's less likely than what typically happens, which with this SEO poisoning, they typically find some niche subject, like a specific thing they know you're going to look for.
Well, so I think it's especially apparent in like K through 12 and the verticals that we work in, because in K through 12, teachers don't often have a lot of money they have to supply the classroom with their own cash a lot of times. So they're probably just looking for resources that they can get for free. So it does make sense to a degree on why they do this. And
what's that site?
Teacher pay teacher.
I wasn't going to say the name. I was going to mention it and be like, hey, any site that you get free things from,
now
whether
he knows how you feel.
Yeah, I was already like, man, that was loaded into the chamber. I was ready to bring it up.
Y'all have derailed my script like terribly. I don't know how I'm going to weave all this back together. I spent a lot of time on this, like 10, 15 minutes. I
start
spent a lot
at
of
point
time.
1, see what happens.
All right. So I think we need to go over the stages of incident response before we get into the differing types of incidents that
Sure.
we kind of work.
Sure.
So according to NIST, and we all know this, there's 6 stages to incident. Right. 6 stages of incident response. Stage 1 is prepare.
Yep.
Or as I like to put it, FAFO.
FAFO?
Yeah.
That's stage 1.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when you're not patching anything.
Well, but stage 1 prepare is get us.
Right. Yeah.
Scinary
Shameless plug.
Cybersecurity.
Scinary sponsor us.
The second stage is identification. Or as I like to refer to it, the oh shit moment.
Mm.
Holy crap. We got something on the network.
All right.
Stage 3 is containment, which is what? Kill the internet phase, right?
Depending on the situation, yeah.
Yeah.
We have lovely isolate buttons now that let
sometimes.
us contain it to a singular or a few devices.
Or disable account.
All I'm
Right.
saying, this is what NIST is telling me, right?
Does it say specifically cut the internet?
It says kill the internet. No, I wrote that.
So when we're killing the internet, does that mean grab a bulldozer and find the fiber line?
No,
Or
that
the
is
backbone?
No, they do that on their own.
Oh, yeah.
no. That's what we call that's the fifth stage is eradication.
Ah.
Yeah, just
That's
burn
when
it
you
down.
you just burn it down, nuke everything. That's actually the fourth stage. The fifth stage is recovery, which is turn it on and hope, turn it back on and hope. Right.
Yep.
That's that stage. And then the very last stage is lessons learned, or as I like to refer to it, the blame game.
Mm.
Never produces a winner.
It
No.
never does. So
Really fun whenever done internally, by the way.
Well, normally the herd thins a little bit after situations like that.
What do you say, resume generating event?
Ah, yes, our RGEs, our favorite.
yeah, they could absolutely be RGEs. So what I thought I would talk about in this episode before y'all freaking took it over and hijacked the
So
episode.
sorry.
You say y'all.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're in y'all. Common attacks that we see. And so we've already went ad nauseum on the Windows R key
Yeah,
thing.
ClickFix. ClickFix attack with SEO poisoning, very big.
Okay. So following our incident response procedures, what do we typically advise on those incidents? How do we handle that as on incident response?
So are we like generically or
Yeah, just generically.
So I would say a large part of it depends on exactly how we detect it, right? So if we're detecting it from like our EDR with threat down, we have the ability to see the actual script going off from the ClickFix attack. And that's been the majority of what we've been dealing with this week. And in that case, we can isolate that endpoint, right? Yeah. And so at that point in time, we know that endpoint at least is not going to be doing anything further because a lot of these ClickFix attacks go anywhere from establishing persistence and remote control for like ransomware, and being able to like initial access broker, like we've talked about in the past, all the way over to like credential stealing, to where it's just getting more information for later.
Red Stealer and all
right.
that.
So isolating the endpoint is a huge deal for that, for being able to mitigate that. And then from there, we can do more investigation about exactly what they're doing and what's getting pulled down. And then eventually reimaging the machine is one of the easiest.
Would restricting local admin rights do anything?
Yes and no. It
really depends on the situation. And I know this is kind of going back to the ClickFix thing, but one of the things that people can do on that front is there is a GPO to turn off the run command.
Yep. Yeah. For your basic users, they don't need it.
Yeah, like, you can turn that off. And another thing, which when you're referring to the local admin thing, a lot of times one of the stages or a part of this malware is to install the RMM software, like a Terra or VNC or Splashtop, whatever. No, local admin would not stop that, because those softwares are, I believe is it mobile executable? Portable executable. Those don't require you to be a local admin to install. Right. And it makes sense from a perspective, because like internally we use Zoho, right? Yeah. So if we need to call up a low-level user because we need to help them with some sort of software issue or endpoint issue, we don't want to give them local admin rights to be able to install this program, but we do need to work with them to do stuff. So it makes sense, but it offers that security vulnerability.
I also think that Chromebooks would be a viable alternative.
Yes and no. I mean, there's still malicious extensions. So a prime thing for like credential stealers is they will actually go in, and regardless of whether it's a Chromebook or not, they're looking specifically for browser password caches and browser extensions, as well as clipboard history. All of those still exist on Chrome devices. So if they're using a Chrome device and they're getting into network infrastructure, or if they're accessing their bank accounts or anything of a personal nature, all of that information gets slurped up, regardless of whether it's a Chrome device or not.
Another thing too is specifically with a lot of the browsers, for certain. I don't really think we find this in like our vertical that we work with, so like education and government.
Right.
But from like a normal user perspective, those browsers often have like crypto wallets on them. A lot of the malware, they try to steal those crypto wallet like browser extensions. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars have been lost to that. So.
Yeah. So what about some of the common attacks that I know that we work are Google and O365 account compromises. So and how that works, and how do folks get those credentials compromised?
So that's actually the second version of detection that I wanted to talk about, because we talked about detecting it on the endpoint. Another way we detect it is oftentimes through cloud or account compromise. So if the ClickFix attacks, say we don't have EDR on the endpoint, and for one reason or another, it's using a site that is brand new, or maybe is attached to an already legitimate site, so it doesn't throw off a lot of signatures. And let's say they do manage to get exfiltration on the data of like a credential stealer. Okay, well now they're going to log into that user's account and start trying to perpetrate more attacks, whether it be, oftentimes we see this with chain phishing. Sometimes it'll just be getting into the user account and trying to change things so they can see if they can add like a share link so they can have access and persistence, all the way over to trying to change the user's credentials in order to lock them out, right? So whenever we see those kinds of things, sometimes we can trace that back to being a ClickFix as well as many other types.
But I hear what you're saying on the detection point, right? But the other side of the internal control structure is preventative, right? So you got preventative detective.
Right.
Your controls. So what we do is mostly on the detection side, right? But there are preventative controls that they can put in. And so a couple of things that I thought about on the Office 365 and Google account compromises is one, leak credentials, right? From breaches and people just reusing the same password.
So I honestly don't think it's leak I think it's literally brute force for a huge amount of this. Like if you look at I can't remember, we were doing an investigation recently and we saw where the attacker 7 or 8 failed attempts, and this is probably going on for a very long time prior, and then they finally got in. So it was 7 attempts prior within a couple of minutes, and then they logged in.
Yep.
And if you think about, and obviously within K through 12, you've got not really 2 tenants, but 2 sets of users. You've got staff and admin and all that, and then you've got the students. Well, the brute force with the student, we worked this exact case where the students were using passwords set up by the IT administrators, who was the student IDs, but the student IDs were in sequential order based on the enrollment.
Right. So it was easy to guess.
So you found, once the attacker found the sequencing, they literally just programmed the thing to go and compromise every single
beyond
account.
that, the student IDs were only 6, 8 characters long, and it was digits. So I mean, the entropy there is very, very, very low, and so I mean, you can program almost, any cracker in order to get through that pretty quickly. I mean, Hydra could easily get through that pretty much any student's password with that particular setup in less than, a few minutes.
Did you just invoke entropy?
Yes.
Okay. Just checking.
Why? What?
I know
you do with passwords.
Password entropy. But I can never I'm always get confused on if it's high entropy or low entropy.
You want high entropy. High entropy means high chaos.
Yeah.
High chaos is harder to guess.
So what you're saying is you want to invoke the warp.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The hell is that?
I'm glad somebody
Let's
asked.
do the time warp again.
So, you're not a 40K fan?
Yeah. I have no idea what y'all are talking about.
I don't think we can get this beer again.
I agree.
Mario, the only sober one on the podcast.
All right. So
Wait, what am I drinking?
yeah, you're drinking
Multi-tool.
multi-tool and some lithium batteries in the phones. What about the proxy attacks? Do we see a lot of those?
Adversary-in-the-Middle.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And just to kind of explain the proxy attack for anybody that doesn't know, so attackers evolve just as the defender side evolves. In fact, they could arguably say that they evolve faster than we do, unfortunately, just because they can spend countless hours doing that. But the proxy attack is basically a man in the middle where even if you have MFA enabled, when the user clicks on a phishing link, it takes them to a site that is Google or Office 365. But the thing is you're sitting on the attacker's infrastructure when you're interacting with that site. And whenever you type in your username and password, MFA token, whenever you type in your MFA token, they are just transposing that into the login on their end and logging in. Or what they do is when you do log in, they're stealing your session token, where they can go and take that and just pop it into anything that they want. They can log in. And the thing with that, and we've had people say, well, I had MFA. How did people get in? Well, it is the proxy attack. Specifically, Evil Nginx is the big one that people are using.
And that's
which you
one.
Can download on
Mario, you don't know anything about that, do you?
I wouldn't. I spent 2 months of nothing.
And that's one of the main types of attacks we see in relation to what I would call phishing chain attacks. So
BEC, business email compromise. Yeah,
exactly. So what they will often do is they'll compromise a single user, and then they will use the same proxy site actually that they used to compromise that initial user. They'll use it again and send it out in another blast email to the entire organization, compromising as many users as they possibly can, and then sending out from as many users as they can from that organization to other organizations.
Okay.
Yeah, I was actually talking about that exact. So yesterday I was on the partner pulse for Iron Skills, and they were asking me
Name dropper.
what was the what is the most common attack that targets K through 12? And it's literally that. It's a business email compromise event. They get one user, and then from there they just spam out to the entire contact list. Probably includes like 10 or 12 other K through 12 entities, and then it's a domino effect from there. And the thing that I find very interesting within the education sector is because all these places are so interconnected, and no doubt this probably exists in other sectors as well, but I think it's especially true for K through 12. Like, we've literally seen these attacks start here in Texas or start in New York and see them show up in these different states. Like, well, we're like, oh yeah, that's the same attack that we were working over here.
So again, getting back to incident response, how do we respond to that? Like, you guys are fantastic at detecting all this stuff, but how do we respond to it?
So at least kind of the way I think about it more broadly, more categorically. The first thing we do is we always identify the risk, right? That's going to be the first thing, because if it's, say, on a guest network that's segmented, it's going to be lower risk. We're going to take care of it. Right. But say it is critical infrastructure, right? We need to know what it is.
Or an IT account, right?
Right.
Yeah.
In other cases, right, involving accounts. The second thing is, once we've identified that there's an issue, we're going to want to close that risk. We're going to want to shorten it, right? Locking accounts out now that we have the ability to.
Well, but what about for schools and cities and counties that don't have our services and access to our? So you're talking about an IT director who is facing this kind of attack but doesn't have the budget for any kind of real cybersecurity.
So,
what's our advice to those guys?
So our go-to now, so I'll kind of segment it, right? If it's account compromise, if you suspect an account is compromised, your number one mitigation is log out of all sessions. You should be able to do this through any admin console for any kind of directory or domain kind of administration. You should be able to log the user out of all active sessions. Change the user's password. Doing those two things in tandem are going to effectively make sure that attacker cannot get access to the domain anymore. And then make sure multi-factor authentication is enabled.
Enforced.
Right. If it is not. If it is already enabled and enforced, then most likely you were the victim of a
proxy attack.
Yeah, an adversary-in-the-middle attack. And in that particular case, you probably want to go look at the user's email or their search history, their browser history, and talk to the user and see if they interacted with anything recently that had them log into their account. That at least gives you the idea of what maybe to mitigate against for the future, whether it be a particular email chain. You can look for the subject and try to make sure, or the sender, and make sure that those don't come into your domain anymore. Or if it's a specific site, you can block the site. This does not mean that it will not happen again. You need need to then educate the users.
You missed something too, Joe.
Please.
Does anybody know what it is? I'm guessing not.
Beer.
He doesn't need any more beer.
I ain't missing the beer.
No. There's also the check for inbox rules.
Forwarding rules. Yeah.
Forwarding
Email
rules. Different folders that were created. Those are very big. Because typically that's one of the first things the attackers do.
Right.
Just because they want to make sure that, especially if it's like accounts payable and receivable, because they're trying to sit there and wait for something that they can intercept and for finance fraud. So make sure you're doing that as well.
So
yes.
Yeah. So, that pretty much covers the account compromise. Basically, you're left with just a handful of options on this. And if it's a BEC, if it's a business email compromise, you're going to be battling that thing for a while.
Yeah, and this is one thing. So either obviously, if you have like Scinary Connect for GWS, we can actually go to see who's interacted with certain things and where this may have spread. But even if you don't have that, if you have the, I believe the investigation tool is in Plus for GWS.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It actually allows you to go search for who interacted with the links.
Yep.
That's another thing I would strongly recommend for people is and I'm pretty sure Office 365 has a very similar thing to do this through their threat hunting portal.
Right.
You want to see who in your organization interacted with the link as well, because what's going to happen, and I guarantee you, because it was sent to everybody in the contact list of the user, that's going to include internal users and it's going to include outside users. If you don't find out who interacted with that link, it's literally going to be just this reoccurring
Never-ending
situation. So try and don't rely on your end users telling you they clicked on something.
Right.
Because the thing is even if they say they don't, there's probably somebody that, even though you tell them like, hey, you're not going to get in trouble, please come tell me, you're going to have somebody that says, oh, I didn't do anything. And then, well, they actually did, and they submitted data.
Yep.
So,
Well, and that investigation could also take a long time, right?
No.
Depending on how
the
large the organization
and
is.
if you have multiple domains, it can
Right.
get even more
Yeah.
difficult.
Well, and
so.
I will say there are other methods as well on top of that. Like if you have email security, you can also look for large emails being sent out or a large amount rather. So that's something we see a lot with these kind of attacks is the attackers are a little impatient whenever it comes to this. Now, some of them may break it up into like 10s and 20s.
Yeah, but most of the time they're BCCing like everybody
Right.
in the contact list.
Exactly. And so if you're looking for that in your email security filter, you're more likely to catch who has been compromised and be able to mitigate from that way. Now, that's a little more reactive than what you're talking about. Yours is a little more proactive, but it is another measure you can take. Always trying to take defense in depth.
I feel like that can be implemented proactively. I think you can read about something and then do something about it, right? Conditional access for like O365. You can implement that before an incident occurs.
Well, and that's something we haven't even touched on yet, conditional access.
And the other thing is, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Braz, because I think you told me there are certain applications, certain web services that provide email services. You can actually reduce the number of emails that they're allowed to send daily or in bulk.
Yes.
Yeah, typically you can control that. Another thing that I want to point out on the Google side of things that people often don't really do is, and which goes back to the point of like figuring out what is common within your network,
Right.
is seeing like what is the average daily volume of emails sent from users. Like if you know like, okay, well, most people don't send more than 20 emails a day, and then all of a sudden you have somebody that sends 100 emails a day. Why did they do that?
Man, who the hell is going to do that analysis?
I mean,
Us.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I mean, that is what they pay us for, but
right.
you're right.
Yeah, that's
Well, there's often you can set up like email alerting to trigger whenever somebody sends a large send. And
I got a question for you guys, because we've done a lot of investigations on this type of stuff in the cloud, Office 365 and Google. Who has better logging?
Ooh.
So this is funny. So Office 365 has better logging.
Yeah.
Like their logs are better.
they're better.
But getting to them is way worse than Google. Like Google's interface for their logging, like the investigation tool is slick. Like that thing is great. The problem is like the logs that actually exist within the Google tenant is like, oh, you mean somebody suspicious logged into my account? Well, you won't know about that for 30 to
45 to 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's like it's a range.
90
It's
minutes.
a range. They don't even tell you an exact time frame. It's like, okay, well, it's anywhere going to be 30 minutes to 120 minutes. And
the craziest thing to me on that is that it's not even like we have an API that queries that kind of stuff, and it's not even that.
No,
like,
it's systemic. It's across the entire. It's their
Google,
front end, back end, everything.
Google itself doesn't know or alert or have the log until almost 90 minutes after the event.
They have the log. The way I understand it is they do get the log, but it doesn't get reviewed by their systems until, I guess they have a backlog. I'm not really sure what, but they do get the telemetry almost immediately.
But it's not available to their console, to their API, to anything
until it hits because we've got.
So to me, that means the log doesn't exist.
No. I agree. What I'm. Okay, semantics, all right, park bench, port swing. But here's the thing. that they do get that telemetry almost immediately. It would be foolish not to, because it has to log the user in.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
But it would be like Centurion taking in network data and say there's a singular packet that matches a rule. But whenever it takes in that packet, it takes it an hour and a half in order to process the rule before you see it.
I see where you're going.
I would almost change that. It would almost be like if it triggered, but the email didn't go out 90 minutes later.
Yeah.
Because it processes
Yeah.
it right then and there. But
Right.
us as, using that data won't get it for that range of time.
Yeah, it is really weird how they handle that. I don't know why that's that way. Well, even their Plus
Yeah.
does the same
Google
thing.
sponsor us.
Like their own thing does that. Like Google's platform does that. So it's not us.
Google will
It's
sponsor us
not-
right to federal court.
Yeah.
I mean,
we
sick
should
that day.
wait. Allegedly.
Reportedly.
Google, reportedly, please sponsor us. What? It'll work one day.
It will.
It's like a
It
brute force.
will.
Keep trying.
Now I will say Google has better separation of data. So as far as like what access you have to
Microsoft
what,
separates its data into its like 5,000 different consoles that change every 2 days.
right.
Like, what is Purview going to be called tomorrow? Who
Right.
knows? I have no idea.
Google is much easier to ascertain exactly what happened where. So I will say like the way their logs are structured are better, but Microsoft does it quicker. And I typically can come to a conclusion much faster because of that.
I regret asking the question.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Because, whatever.
The thing that it's like, okay, Microsoft just, again, the logs are better, but it's like, where are the logs? Are they in Purview? Are they in Intra? Are they in Defender? Are they where do they exist?
Right.
Exchange?
Look,
You have Intune? Like, where are they at?
Do you get the pain points? Imagine we try to do this during IR.
Yes.
During the
No, I get it.
imperative
Exactly.
time.
Yeah,
During the
no,
imperative time.
I get it.
I know
right?
he knows, because we've had where Microsoft 365 accounts get compromised, and we're looking for the user login logs, and we're like, where the hell are they at?
Oh, my Lord.
And then we end up finding them later.
Well, it's like, and you're Googling, where did they put them this week?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
They change.
they're never in the same spot, which is why I'm glad we've got Scinary Connect for Office 365. We don't even have to worry about that anymore. We just slurp the logs in, and we
And then we can
into
just search for a
Centurion,
username,
right?
and the username populates
Yeah.
across any kind of
Holy
log
crap.
they have.
You don't have to deal with
Right.
a clunky front end for PowerShell on the back.
Yeah.
like-
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, well, whenever you do their advanced threat hunting queries, it is PowerShell.
So-
It is the same exact commands.
So I wonder
I just
if,
want grep. Just give me grep, please. That's all I need.
It is available in PowerShell now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So I wonder how much of that
I think.
though is trying to make it to where it is profitable to have an API, so that other vendors can push their product as
Well, so okay. Can y'all explain Microsoft licensing to me?
No, no one can.
no.
You have to have you need to have studied the dark arts of Microsoft licensing for like 10 years.
I pay a Microsoft bill like 15 times a month because it's all this
Wait,
desperate
so
billing.
on your
and-
VMs, you're not supposed to have that not licensed by Microsoft thing.
Shh, Joe.
Hey,
Okay. Check,
speaking
just check.
Microsoft sponsor us.
speaking of that, did y'all hear about the SharePoint vulnerability that is getting popped out in the wild that Microsoft
Yes.
released a patch for?
Yes.
Yep.
And they were like, that's sweet. You tried to patch this.
So
It's,
I
it's
still
called Tool Shell.
Yeah.
Tool Shell.
Yeah. Tool shell. I still find it so funny though how prevalent that particular incident vulnerability became compared to like the Citrix Bleed
Mm-hmm.
2. Yeah, Citrix.
Yeah.
Oh man, third one. Citrix Bleed 2
Words
incident.
are hard.
Beer is good.
All right, I speak good.
This has gone completely off the rails. We may not publish this one.
But no, I find it interesting because honestly, the Citrix Bleed 2 vulnerability was much more compromised in the environment, like the internet abroad, than the SharePoint. Though I will say the SharePoint vulnerability has culminated now in at least 4 or 5 major incidents.
So the stat I read this morning was 56 known compromises, and you can go look them up on Shodan.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
but as far as like the news goes, like 4 or 5 major incidents have been related to the SharePoint
So and
vulnerability.
the one thing to make sure that Richard is a little bit happy here, going back to the main. I feel like we say this way too much, but
I was the way I was going to segue was, Richard, how many of those you got left that we haven't marked off?
it's like 20.
Yeah, the whole list. But I did, because we kind of started this off with like how, because you were talking about on the endpoint detection response side, getting the alert on the ClickFix and everything else. One of the other ways that I know that IR gets started, at least outside of that, like malware and stuff is still IR, but like most of the time that's early stage, like stage 1, stage 2.
Yeah, that's where we hope to catch it.
Yeah. But another way that we know it's like Richard slaps the big red button over there, is when Canary goes off.
Shut the studio down. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
But when the Centurion Canary program goes off, because what that is it's basically a honeypot within people's networks, and what we find is that off of the initial access brokers, once they get into the environment, they'll scan the environment, which triggers that canary, which sends an alert to our SOC team. And what you were saying is, how do we respond to this? Almost every time, once we get into contact with the client or the person in which we're dealing with the IR on, is can we see your firewall logs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yes.
Because what happens is that people have compromised the SSL-VPN, and they're in that network logging in, scanning to see what they have access to so that they can pivot or laterally move.
Or the management interface. Because we've seen a number of vulnerabilities related to the management interface being exposed to the
I'm pretty
internet.
sure Cisco put out a CVE that was scored at a 10 because of the radius authentication for their firewalls recently. So
and so funny enough, SSL VPN's on my list.
Imagine that.
Right. So I do want to talk about that, because whenever we're talking about an SSL VPN compromise, in our experience, in the stuff that we work, that is a early stage ransomware attack.
Yeah.
Right. That is like your all the alarms should be going off. Lights should be flashing.
Well, and I mean, you can call it like it's ransomware at the end, but another one that's a very interesting variation of that, which I think we're getting more and more, is where it's not the locker. They're just extorting you for the data that they stole.
Yeah. So. And we're getting more and more of that. But whenever we alert on an SSL VPN compromise, or I say a SSL VPN compromise, whenever we alert on something internal to the network, say we see malware reaching out or a machine reaching out to C2 infrastructure, right? The first thing that we do is like, okay, let's spin up IR, let's get on a screen share, show me your firewall.
Yes.
Show me your SSL VPN logs.
Well, because the firewall is the major choke point, right?
Yeah, well, it is the gateway into the network. Most of the clients that we're dealing with, and I would say most places outside of some really large organizations now, pretty much everything is SaaS or in the cloud. So like you're not dealing with on-prem infrastructure as much. So the only way to get into your environment really is that front-facing firewall.
Yep.
And I'd love to throw an anecdote in there. This is all so fantastic to do at 2 a.m. I mean, just imagine you're out, you've had like 100 shots, you're crusted over more than like a pie, and it's 3 a.m, and then all of a sudden you get a call from your night crew. You're like,
did you say crusted over?
Yeah.
Yep, I did.
And that wasn't targeted, but
Fantastic.
And then you get a call from your night crew saying, "Hey, something's funny is going on. I need some help." And then all of a sudden you're awake for 48 hours.
Shout out to Elijah.
Thank you, Elijah. We love you.
I will never forget like the time I waking up to go to the gym in the morning. It's like 3 a.m. Hello, Elijah. How are you doing, sir? have you ever seen an alert without any information in it?
And you know what happened? You were waking up to go to the gym. I was getting ready to go to bed.
Yeah, and
He calls me.
there were 3. I was like, no, that's weird. ... Is it? Oh, geez, what? Our clone? And he's like, oh yeah.
That sounds about right.
man.
Oh,
okay.
shit.
And that one was like 2
We're
weeks.
in identification. Oh shit face.
So I do want to mention there, because I think another really apt way of looking at these events is not from necessarily the NIST standard, but rather from the MITRE ATT&CK framework, looking more from
Oh,
the
good lord.
No, but okay, so I use a very simplified version of this. Because
Joe version.
well, yeah, the Joe version of the MITRE ATT&CK framework, because
It's been defunded anyway. So
it's too much.
go ahead.
But I do think you can really break down the stages of an attack into initial access, discovery, lateral movement or pivoting, second stage download, and then eventually like exploitation or delivery is sometimes what I call it, and then data exfil, right? So depending on where you are within that chain, and then obviously cleanup at the end. Sorry, I always forget cleanup because hopefully we stop them before that.
Well,
phase.
the lessons learned, the blame game. Who left the damn SSL-VPN open?
But with cleanup, if you're starting an investigation after cleanup, you are sitting in a place of the worst case scenario. Because at that point they have deleted so much data that the likelihood of you actually figuring out how they did what they did is very, very small.
One of the things that I find extremely interesting is that how brash these attackers are. The scans, they're not trying to be quiet.
They are not quiet.
That's the thing that's crazy to me. Like the fact that I can have a honeypot inside of the network that you're not even trying to avoid. Like you're just in-map TAC T4 TAC
Our
A
angry,
TAC
our
P
freaking
TAC, angry IP scanner.
So I will say that to me is the quintessential definition of the difference, and we've talked about this before, between Russian and Chinese.
Like
malware. Like the Russian is going to just set off all your fucking alarms as he just crashes the network, and you have 24 hours to deal with it, or you're fucked.
The thing that I believe is that because
we're definitely going to have to like R-rate this episode now.
This one's explicit.
We can censor things out.
Wait. For PG-13, you get one fuck. Oh, damn it. That was 2.
We're not good at speaking, but we're great at IR.
Mr. LaForce is going to have an aneurysm.
Oh, he's going to have so much fun with the shorts.
I mean, it really doesn't matter. So here's the thing that I want to bring this back to is we're talking about incident response. The key word being response. We've talked a lot about incident, right? But what is our response on an SSL VPN compromise? What do we see? And a lot of times what we see, and Brazos, you're the ranking expert in this. A lot of times what we see is we will see a user account be compromised initially on the SSL VPN. They gain access to that, and then they're going to try to set up additional accounts. And like local accounts so they can they're going to set up persistence. If they get through that, what they're going to do when they move through the network, they're going to install RMM software, right? The ones that we've seen are what? Atera, because Splashtop comes with Atera.
It's like bundled.
It's bundled together. We also see
Level.io is another one. Ultra VNC.
Net support.
Net support.
So and this is for the clients that are listening. First of all, I'm sorry that you're listening to this. But second of all, that's why you get so many questions from us about, hey, we're seeing GoTo. We're seeing Level. We're seeing this on your network.
Even Zoho Assist.
Zoho Assist,
So it still cracks me up.
Which is what we use, by the way.
Right. It still cracks me up to this day that as we were preparing for our red team with a client, Donald comes into the room and says, you guys should be using PDQ. And my response to him was, well,
Oh my God.
we haven't seen PDQ.
yeah, we
I
did.
remember this.
Yeah.
Well, at that
No,
time,
no, at that time we hadn't.
I was like, we haven't seen PDQ used. It's expensive. People don't pay for things in order to be able to use them. And he was like, but they could steal them. And I was like, yeah, that's the thing. But I haven't seen it before.
Well, that's
and
how-
sure enough, less than like even
2 weeks.
2 weeks
Yeah.
after the red team, we get a client who says, so we're signing up with you because we just got ransomware recently, and they used PDQ. And I was like,
No, they didn't. We started going through the doing a post exploitation investigation
yes.
and saw, hey, do you guys have PDQ? Yeah. Holy crap. That's what they were using
Yeah.
to maneuver and deploy
Well,
the
even-
locker.
Even prior to that, if you remember last year when we were doing the investigation, we had found that the attacker actually set up PDQ to deploy their
Exactly.
malware. They set it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It wasn't used
Oh,
within that
yeah, that's
environment.
true. That's true.
So it's one of those things to where even if you think it's legitimate application, you should have a list of approved applications that should be within your environment, especially for deployment and like any kind of automation and RMM. If you're using anything for either of those solutions, you should know what should be on your network and what shouldn't.
Because we do have folks from time to time that say, well, users can't install any programs because they don't have local admin rights. Explain to the ladies and gentlemen that are still with us at this point what portable executables do, where they go, how they work.
So we had mentioned this earlier because that's the big thing is most of these RMM softwares are they install as portable executables, which means they install in the app data folder. They don't require local administrative rights to install. This is due to a feature, not a bug,
Right.
So that you basically can do that remote assistance, and browsers work the same way. It's so users can go and install a browser because everybody's going to want a browser, and you don't want to have to go and deal with it and have to type in local admin rights every single time.
So, and there are a number of software that have the ability to be either a full install, is what they'll call it, or a portable install, where it uses the portable exe. A prime example of this is AnyDesk, the one that we actually use for our red team. AnyDesk can be a full install where it installs in the program or the programs, right?
Yeah, program files.
Right, program files, where it installs there, or it can be a portable executable where it's just within that user context and it's in the program the app data local
roaming.
And that's it. So depending on which one you decide to do, you do get more capabilities if you have the full install, but you get still unattended access if you do the portable install, as long as you install it with the right flags.
Yeah. And as an attacker, that's all you really need.
Yeah.
And I do want to go to the SSL, the SSL VPN side and mention why probably the number one reason or way that we see these things get compromised is misconfigurations. Largely, it's not exploitation. It is a simple misconfiguration. And that
there's an RCE for that particular firewall.
But I find that is less common. It does exist. We've worked them, but in terms of when you're talking about these ransomware events that we investigate or the ones that we stop, when we're getting in there and we're looking at the config of the firewall, one of the very first things after I shut off the SSL VPN that I do is I go check the authentication servers. Yep. And what I find is there's an LDAP connection to your domain controller that is set up to look at the entire domain.
Yes.
So you remember those student passwords we had that were 6 characters long and only digits?
Yep. They've got firewall accounts.
Yeah, they've got firewall accounts
They have
because
SSL-VPN.
Yeah.
And this is what bugs me is the thing
You just
is,
got one thing? I've got like 17.
well, we've covered 1,000. But you get a firewall expert to come and set up your brand new beautiful FortiGate, and they plug it in, they get everything set up, and they're like, it's working now. And, understandably, you hired somebody to come do that. You may not understand that system very well, but the people that are setting that up are networking people.
Accessibility.
They are concerned with one thing, the availability of that firewall.
Yep.
And so when they're trying to get that up and running, they're going to type in DC equals domain, comma, DC equals local, and then point it to everything. And all of a sudden, your students, your service accounts, your teacher account that has a password of my dog's name 123, all of those have firewall accounts now that they can log into the firewall with.
And I do want to say this, that that is a common. It's not like we see it 1 out of every 1,000. It's a common misconfiguration.
Very common.
Prolific.
Yeah, on the firewall. So if you're listening to this and you've got SSL-VPN facing the internet, please go check it out.
Yeah,
do an audit of it and figure out, okay, who's got access to what. Of course, if you're a client of ours and you have a Fortinet firewall, we will be pulling in those logs as well and checking for things like that. Yeah, I know.
26.
I hear you, but I'm saying
we targeted that for one reason only, and that's because we keep seeing it, and so it's like we're building our stuff to respond to the things that we see.
It's the same reason why we moved over to the firewall review as opposed to doing SMB checks.
Yes.
SMB checks, you do see what kind of data is available to a low-level user, but the common way most of these attackers get on the network is through this SSL VPN. If you limit that, you have much more like bang for your dollar than you do if you're checking all the SMB shares.
Yeah, for the audit nerds out there, the way we used to do our internal security assessments was we would go through the file shares, right? And that was a very detective thing. Hey, if an attacker gets in, they get to your file shares, here's the data they're going to be able to pull, even with a low-level account, even with like a student account, they can get into payroll and financial data and all of that. And the reason why we changed that method was we wanted to be more on the preventative side. We wanted to say, okay, it's going to be a given because we've seen it, like on 90% of everything that we've done, that you've got sensitive information in your file shares. That's a given. We're not going to tell you anything that you don't know on that. So let's just
consider it's a thing and
consider it's a thing, and then move back to, okay, let's do your firewall review. Let's review your firewall as your internal health check.
Yep.
Because that is the choke point. By and large, that is the choke point. That being said, we are seeing more and more instances of people installing RMM software on the endpoint itself, bypassing
especially
the freaking
through
firewall,
especially through attack vectors like the ClickFix, where it does bypass that. But that being said, even then, we have things like EDR and monitoring the cloud environment that give us telemetry on what someone's doing once they get into the environment. So it still stands better for us to limit the access at the choke point and then to monitor the endpoint and the cloud than it is to look at what they would have available to them once they're inside.
Yeah,
we're still trying to limit, like, if they get inside, it's still, hey, someone that shouldn't be inside is inside. And that's what we're looking for over what do they have access for.
My standing directive to tech services, which is what Brazos is in charge of, is when we do these firewall checks, you make those changes. You make sure those changes are made in the firewall when we're on. It's not like it's a recommendation, sure, and if they don't want to do it, we can't force them to do it. But if we see that they've got their firewall pointed to all, LDAP is pointed to all users in the domain, I want that changed at that point in time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, and by and large, I think clients have been like, oh man, I didn't even know that was set up like that.
Right.
Yeah. Well, again, most people hire it done. And then you get an outside entity that comes in and sets it up, and then they don't touch it. In fact, we've worked with a number of people that when we call them, they have access to it, and they're like, man, we had somebody set this up 3 years ago, I really haven't it works. I haven't logged into it. And then you go and you check it, and it's like, Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I will say this, that if you're a victim of a ransomware attack or an intrusion data breach type thing,
Call us.
well, call us. But check your firewall logs. Don't just freaking immediately go pull the plug on the internet.
Right.
Because a lot of times, unless you've got syslogging, you're sending those firewall logs offsite or somewhere, when you pull the plug on that firewall, you're losing all your logs.
Well, you can pull the internet. Don't turn the firewall off.
Right.
And this is something that a lot of people may not know, is that those firewalls, a lot of times when you buy them, there are multiple SKUs of the firewall. Some of them only have memory logging, which means that all the logs are stored on the RAM that sits on that machine.
Mm-hmm.
RAM is random access memory. It's volatile. You turn the thing off, it's gone. You've got other ones that have disk logging, so meaning that that's hard copied to a disk, and you're good if you unplug it, but it's still only what's allowed on the disk. And then some of them are cloud logging, which have a certain retention time.
Mm-hmm.
And then others, you will have a syslog server that they'll sell on top of that. So you've got multiple SKUs, but most of the time what I find is the memory logging is the most common.
Yeah. And if you do get in that situation, what we recommend and what we always do is kill the SSL-VPN. We just turn that off immediately.
Yeah, unless you have a Palo. And then it becomes very hard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to disable the authentication server. Yeah. So
that's terrible.
Or you do the Donald thing and you just start deleting configurations, and then I have to go and rebuild the thing.
Hey, whatever works, right?
I am so glad.
Palo, please.
Well, okay. So that exact event, I remember, I was not available, and the next day I come into work and Donald's like, "Hey, we shut down the SSL VPN on this Palo, but now the event's handled. We need to rebuild it." And I'm like, "Okay." And I get in there and I'm like, this should be easy. I'll just go and turn on the authentication server again. And then I walk in, I'm like, oh, the portals are gone. The authentication servers are gone.
He rolled them back to a previous version.
I don't know what your IPs for your SSL VPN pull were. I don't know where the logical policy links were. I have no idea. So I asked the tech director, the tech guys that were there. I'm like, hey, do y'all know what this was set up like? And they're like, no.
It was funny because it was actually me and Mr. LaForce and I were working that incident. It was a Sunday afternoon, and we were working that incident, and he was chatting to me, and he was like, I killed it. I don't know exactly what I did, but I took a lot of screenshots.
It's amazing what you can do with RM-RF.
Yeah. I mean, you could really stop an attack that way.
But we got them back up and running. And it was an inconvenience, but it was also an attack that we stopped.
The screenshots did save me. I was able to piece together the firewall from the screenshots, but I remember I was sitting in my head or my chair, and in my head, just the constant curse words, Donald LaForce.
So I do think it's important for us to go ahead and address now that we have talked about the initial access. We've talked about
we haven't talked about any of the shit that I wanted to talk about. No, but go ahead.
But we have gotten all the way through detection, initial response, what you can do there. The next part is recovery.
Yeah,
we really haven't covered recovery at all. Of what you do after the fact in order to bring yourself back online.
Yeah, so I think we're going to have to wait for another episode to do that because we are already past an hour.
The only thing I will say about the recovery is if your backup disk is plugged into your domain controller, don't do that.
You're done. Yeah. So wait, you want to go ahead and say your 3, 2, 1 real quick?
I don't know what does that mean?
Yeah,
wait, what do you mean?
3, 2, 1
3, 2, 1. It's your number one thing. Your
backup.
Don't act to me like I'm crazy.
No, because we always do the 3, 2, 1 countdown on the podcast. That's what I thought you were referring to.
No, we've never done a 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I was like 3, 2, 1, go. That's what we do on the podcast.
To start,
Anyway,
not
three.
In the event the camera can't see it, those cans are empty. Everything they decimated those.
I had
beers.
one.
This is my fourth.
I don't even know anymore. Anyway, 3, 2, 1. 3 backups, 2 on site, 1 off site.
Right.
And logically separate, right? That is the key on that. But we'll come back to recovery in another episode. I'm sure we are going to have more incident response stories for everyone.
We could talk about that for
What was that
hours
book
on
you
end.
wanted to make?
Oh yeah. When I retire, I'm going to write a book called "You Ain't Gonna Believe This Shit."
Yeah.
And every chapter was going to be an incident response story.
Yeah, walking in the data center with the dead rat and the like the it literally plugged in the domain controller.
My internet's down. Have you noticed that the wires are chewed through?
She moved the rat.
Like middle of an IR incident, walks into the head honcho's office and they're just watching Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot more to come. Thank you guys, appreciate it. I think it was a good episode. It was definitely entertaining for
I feel
me.
good.
Yeah, you should.
I'm sure you do.
You should, absolutely. So for everyone listening, we will see you again next week when we'll talk about, of course, Mr. Wortham.
Yes, I'm sorry. Isn't next week? Don't we have a guest, or is that 2 weeks from now?
That's 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now.
August 29th is August
We're
29th
expanding
is
our repertoire.
Well, now they're going to be
having
wondering who it
experts.
is, and they're going to have to wait.
so no, it's Jason Phillips on August 29th.
Okay, well there
That's
goes,
going to be
there goes our thing.
That's going to be our beta test for no, he's going to be here live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and we just got off the phone with Brian Kane, who is senior global something over at Threat Down Malwarebytes.
MSP channel, I believe.
Yeah, he high big wig over there. He and their I guess their new general manager
Yeah.
will be here in person, hopefully in September. What's her name? Kendra?
I believe Kendra, yeah.
Yeah. So we're excited to have them. And then later, we're going to have the CEO of IronScales, Eyal Benishti.
Oh, you should look these things up before you start.
Eyal, I love you, man. I'm sorry, but yeah, he will be here
September 26th.
September 26th.
Well, and he won't be here physically.
No. So he'll
That'll be the first one we're doing remote which will be interesting.
with CEO of IronScales, of course, because that's how we roll. It's nothing like testing in production.
Fix it in post.
Fix it in post. Absolutely.
I think after he watches this podcast,
He might reconsider. He might
I'm going to get an
reconsider.
email from Jenna, their marketing person,
Right.
saying, hey, we canceled that.
just remember, even remote, you can drink.
Those are great words to end off of. Fix it in post.
Absolutely. And with that, gentlemen, have a great weekend, and I will see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.